May this video be the catalyst that awakens your inner potential, guiding you towards wholeness and unconditional love.
If you are capable of causing depression to yourself, I'm saying this not without any concern for your illness or not due to lack of compassion, because that is the nature of what's happening to you. If you're causing depression to yourself, you are able to generate substantial amount of intense emotions and thoughts, but in the wrong direction. If you don't have very strong emotions, very intense thoughts about something, you cannot get depressed. It is just that you are generating thoughts and emotion which work against you, not for you. So you are strong enough to cause depression to yourself because for you to cause a mental illness for yourself, unless you're pathologically ill, which is just a small number of people, rest are all self-created. Most of them are self-created. A few are pathologically ill, they cannot help it. It just comes from within because of genetic and other factors. Almost everybody here, if we train them towards a certain kind of thought process and emotion and push them a little bit with the outside situations, almost everybody will go lose their mental balance. They will become clinically ill. They can be driven to madness, I'm saying, because the line between sanity and insanity is very thin. People keep pushing it. You get angry, you're pushing the line. It's a thin line. In fact, when you get angry, you know you're pushing the line. That's why the expression, "I was mad at somebody." You're not mad at somebody, you're just going mad. You cannot be mad at somebody. You're just pushing your sanity, the boundaries of sanity, and moving into insanity for a certain period of time and coming back. You do one thing every day, you try this. 10 minutes a day, try intense anger on somebody. What? You will see in 3 months' time, you will be clinically there. Yes. Just try it if you want. Because if you keep pushing the line, you go mad and you come back, you go mad and you come back, one day you're not able to come back, that's all. One day you're not able to turn back, then you're clinically ill. You must understand, even if you got angry for a moment, you're already ill. Maybe you don't get the certificate of diagnosis. They don't slap a certificate on you that you're gone, but you are going, isn't it? You think it's your right to throw tantrums, you think it's your right to get angry with people, you think it's your privilege to be depressed so that you'll get attention from somebody. You keep playing this, one day you will not be able to turn back. Keep crossing the line every day, one day you will see you cannot cross back. That day, you need a doctor. Till then, everybody needed a respite from you, but the day you can't cross back, they get the respite because now they can catch you and give you to a doctor. Otherwise, you're temporarily going mad every day, many times a day. They cannot even send you to an asylum, they have to bear with you, your family, your friends, your people around you. If you get at least truly clinically ill, we can hand you over. There's one temple in Tamil Nadu, where they chain you and keep you. where there is no hospital, no psychological for ailments, there is no hospital, there is a temple that somebody created which is supposed to push people back into sanity. So, families just take them and leave them there, they're shackled and left in the temple. You give them some money, they'll feed you, and you're just there like an animal, tied up. I think if hospitals were run like this, a lot of people wouldn't go crazy. They would maintain their sanity. Right now it's too deluxe. If you make hospital extremely comfortable, it'll become an incentive to become sick. And you have incentives in your life to become ill, right from your childhood. You got the maximum attention only when you fell ill. When you are happy, they screamed at you. When you squealed in joy, they screamed back at you, adults. You… then boo-boo, 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 boo-boo. When you are a child, physical illness is good because you'll get attention from your mother and father and everybody around you, and you don't have to go to school on that day. So you learn the art of falling physically ill. But once you get married, you learn the art of becoming mentally ill. Because if you want to get attention, you go sit in a corner, act depressed, people will pay attention to you. So you keep playing this game, one day you're not able to cross the line back. That day you're clinically ill. Unfortunately, in many ways, not just in the way that I said now, in many different ways, I would say 70% of illnesses on the planet, all kinds, are self-created. Even if you get an infection, there is a way. If you keep yourself in a certain way, physically and mentally, the virus and the bacteria will not work the same way as it works upon somebody else. If you set yourself like this, no matter what's happening, anyway, I have to go and do this, this and this. There's no break from that. The last 29 years, I have not been able to cancel one program because I'm running temperature, I got a cold, I got this, I got that. It doesn't matter what's happening, what you have to do, you anyway have to do. You can't turn back on that. Either out of your commitment or you have a boss like that. One way or the other, if it happens, then you will see, you will not at all fall sick so often. Because if you have temperature, you still have to go. If it's summer, you still go, right? Now, a lot of people don't go. It's a little hot outside, they don't go and work. A little cold outside, they don't go and work. A little raining, they won't go and work. A snowflake, they will not go and work. This is just weather. So for every change in weather, if you have the comfort of covering yourself in a blanket and lying down, once you create that, your body will learn to fall sick as often as possible. If you just keep it this way, it doesn't matter what it is, anyway I have to go and do what I have to do, you will see your body will just bounce back as quickly as possible, even if it gets the worst kind of infections. So you just have to set the necessary conditions for health, necessary incentives for health, both for yourself and your children if you have them. Do not set incentives for sickness. The child is sick, observe him from a distance, never go cuddle him. He knows that's the worst time of his life and he knows he has to get well soon. And give him the best attention when he is joyful. You will see he naturally learns from within. His very chemistry will learn that it pays to be joyful, it doesn't pay to be sick. If you make this very clear to your own biology, to your own chemistry and to everybody around you, you will see people will not fall sick as often as they are right now. So set that up for yourself. you will see you will get healthy. If you can turn your mind this way, you can also turn it this way. I want you to understand this. No, I'm like this because my father abused me when I was 7 years of age. If you know all that bullshit, you can as well turn yourself around, isn't it? You must understand, mentally, physiologically, chemically, energy-wise, you must clearly understand it doesn't pay to be sick, unhappy, depressed. It doesn't pay. To be joyful and ecstatic, it pays. If you make this clear to all these people inside, they will all behave properly.
As a doctor, as a surgeon, we are involved with major surgical interventions. Unfortunately, in our business, this is the only business in the world where a customer can die.
No, taxi drivers.
It's however much you try, Sadhguru, to dissociate ourselves. When you are operating, you need to concentrate and do the job, but what comes to your mind is the young wife, young children waiting outside. The margin of error is very small, few millimeters here and there. Then you think what are the consequences on them. Then you start thinking about when you are a kid, if something happens to your father, where you would have been. We are after all human beings. We are always torn between what we do to somebody and what could have happened to our own life. It's a constant tension. How do we overcome it? I've been in this profession for more than 30 years. Still, I haven't yet mastered the art of dissociating myself from the patient's life.
Yes, when you're given a certain responsibility which could determine the shape and scope of people's lives, it's a big thing to carry on one's shoulders. But the important thing is that somebody has chosen to place such a responsibility in our hands. It's a tremendous privilege if we execute it. Can we do the best? We can never do the best, but we can do the best that we can do, always with life. Is it the best? No, we are doing our best. If we lack in that, then we have a serious problem. But if we're doing our best in everything that we do, we know it is not the best, but it's our best, we have not spared anything, that's good. And above all, when you refer to yourself as a human being, after all, we're human beings, this is a big problem. This will reduce our best. That is, people are always using the word human being as a limitation, as a compulsiveness, as a small thing. We are not referring to the word or term human being as a possibility. Instead of saying we are just human beings, why don't we say we are human beings? Okay, great, we're doing so many things, we can replace a damn heart. Isn't it?
Yes.
Now, replacing a part of a machine is not a big thing. It's like this, shall I tell you a joke? It just came to me when I saw you. So, a cardiac surgeon took his Aston Martin, which was giving him a little bit of trouble, engine trouble, to the mechanic. So he said by evening he'll have it ready. After his hospital job, he went there to pick up his car. It was not ready. The mechanic was swaggering around a little bit, and I said, "Hey doc, why is it I do the car's engines, you do people's engines? After all, a pumping thing, you know. Why is it that you earn in millions, I just make a few bucks? Come tomorrow, doc, we'll fix it." So the doctor looked at him and said, "Try to fix the engine when it's running." That's the important thing. You got to keep it running and fix it.
Sadhguru, but the great work done by all the senior cardiac surgeons, cardiologists, and all the good doctors of this country, heart care has attained it has got a lot of confidence from the people. It's very interesting, Sadhguru. When I started my career 25 years ago, I left England 25 years ago. I started in Calcutta. If I told a patient then…
Lot of heartbreak there.
If I told a patient then that he needed an operation, it required more than an hour of convincing him for an operation. But today, I face a different problem.
Standing in a line.
Today, Sadhguru, when I tell a patient, after seeing all the reports, that you do not need an operation, I have to spend 1 hour to convince him why he doesn't need operation. Everyone wants heart operation, Sadhguru.
Is it for romantic reasons or…
How do we convince people that fixing the heart is not like, something wrong with your house, you get a plumber, he will fix it, or something wrong with the car, you change the parts. It is something different. We are not the magicians, or we are not the gods, and the nature is the best healer. Cardiac surgery is only a 50-year-old phenomenon. People have lived for…
I think they have also realized it's a dumb pot.
It's a big dilemma for all of us, Sadhguru. Today, people want something to be done on their body all the time.
If not heart, many other parts of the body. Yes, as I said, probably in another 50 years, 50% of the population will be going through these surgeries, which is not health, which is medical industry, but not health. If health has to happen, a culture of health has to come in. Not healthcare systems, not hospitals, not more doctors, not more surgeries, but a culture of health has to evolve. Right now, world is in a way of imitating everything that America does. They eat badly, they live badly, and they have a $3 trillion bill of healthcare. It's sinking the country, okay? It's sinking the whole nation, healthcare. We want to follow the same things. We want to dress like them, we want to eat like them, we want to live like them, and we want to get unhealthy like them, but our country cannot spend $3 trillion on you for sure, we'll let you die. Yes, we're not going to reach out to everybody and do surgery for 1.25 billion people. That's not going to happen in near future, and if it doesn't happen, it's a disaster. If it happens, it's a bigger disaster. That people do not know how to live well is a disastrous way. That I would say 70% of the ailments on this planet can be just handled with better sense of living, eating, atmosphere. If you manage, 70% will be gone. You can achieve this in 12 to 15 years of time on the planet if a determined effort is made by the people, by the policy, and by everybody concerned, particularly the hospitals. They can do a lot. Because when they're sick, they listen, Otherwise they don't. When they're well, they don't listen. When they're sick, they will listen. They have years, more years than 2 when they're sick. That's the time to talk to them as to how to live better. These things are not new to us. These are very strongly rooted in our cultural milieu, but we are throwing it away for something which will bring us a lot of trouble. For immediate attention, for immediate intervention, of course, medical intervention is primary and it's most vital, there's no question about that. But long-term health will not happen because of medical sciences as we know it. Long-term health of a society or a nation or the planet will not happen that way. We have to bring a culture of health. What is the way to live, what is the way to eat, how to keep our body, how to keep our mind, how to keep our breath, how to keep the atmosphere around us. If this culture is not brought into us from our childhood, I would say it must be brought into the school curriculum itself. It must be brought in, healthful ways of living, because if you do not build healthy people, you're going to have educated and sick people and you're going to build a nation or a world out of it. With sick people, you're not going to build a great nation, you can only build a sick nation. And that is happening across the world. The major nations are suffering enormous amount of illnesses. The most affluent countries who have no nutritional problems, okay? India's half the problem are nutritional problems. Right from their childhood, they've not eaten properly. Affluent nations who have a choice of nourishment, look at the level of health issues they have. That should not exist at all. When they have choice of nourishment, they should not have, I would say, 80% of the people should not have any health issues till they die. When 20%, 25% will get something, infections will come because of close proximity, those are different. But these are all on self-help. People are on self-help to create ailments for themselves. This can be 100% taken away if we establish a culture of health, for which I think not just medical professionals, people from various other areas have to work together to make this happen. I don't see any major synergy like that right now. Small efforts are happening here and there, but that's not enough. It's good, but it's not enough.
Sadhguru, majority of the people who fall sick, it's primarily because they led a life which would definitely land them in trouble. But thousands of children are born in this country, like any other part of the world, with cardiac problem, with cancer, all kinds of problems. It is not their fault. Why it happens? It shouldn't have happened.
6 million Toyota cars were withdrawn last year for defective whatever and about 9 million General Motors withdrawn for ignition problems.
It's a manufacturing defect.
Only problem is you can't withdraw them. Actually, nature is trying to withdraw them. We are not allowing it. There was a time we would allow the nature to withdraw. Yes? All the manufacturing defects that came, 100, 200 years ago, we would allow the nature to withdraw. By the time children are 4, only the fittest would survive, rest would go. Now we don't allow them to withdraw, so we need a whole lot of things to run the defective cars. I know I'm putting it so blatantly, but you need to understand, the physical existence is mechanical. Whether you like it or you don't like it, probably all kinds of sensitivities and emotions are there about this my physical body. But when they come to you, you strip them down and treat them like a machine, isn't it? Complex, sophisticated, but still mechanical, isn't it?
Yes.
There are other aspects to it, but fundamentally mechanical. Anything mechanical, anything physical, there is never something called as perfection to it. It is a constant work in progress. You can improve it and improve it and improve it. What we call as evolutionary thing is just that. Now, the parents, the two machines which produce this small machine,
Yes.
okay? What condition are they in? This is also an issue which we have not taken care of. There is a lot to be said which is controversial about this, but essentially this idea that everybody must have children has to go. Yeah, I know I'm getting into trouble. But we are not seeing humanity as a future possibility, we are just seeing it as a regressive way of something that we can extend into future of our own, a footprint. Right now that's a problem. Our identification with the body is so strong, the physical body is so strong, we are unable to think beyond our biological identity. Once you are not able to think beyond your biological identity, the very nature of being human, the immensity of being human is constrained and constipated into a very small process. In this process, there are problems. In the ancient past, they handled this in many different ways, which are absolutely, utterly controversial today and can never be brought back into this society, but they did handle things in a completely different way. They're bred carefully, which is very important. We are thinking about, when it comes to animal husbandry, we are thinking of breeding right. As human beings, why are we not thinking of breeding right? Because we're too identified with our own bodies. Mine is more important than what's right, and the level of suffering that you bring into this fresh life, you know, you see it every day.
Sadhguru, scriptures tell us that everything happening in this world, including what happens in our life, is preordained.
Which scripture said that?
At least that's what I thought, that we are destined to do something irrespective of what happens. If that is the case, we are destined to die someday, then what's the role of people like us in this world?
We're definitely destined to die. People come and tell me, Sadhguru, this man, my enemy, I can't bear him, I want to do something. I say, just wait, he will die. You don't have to do anything, just wait. Just be patient, that's all. So destined to die, yes. But I don't think ever any scripture has mentioned that your life is predetermined or preordained. This is an import from outside. You must understand the fundamental nature of what this culture is it's rooted in this. This is a godless culture, you must understand this. There has never been an idea of God in this country. It's an imported value, let me put this into perspective, because it upsets lots of people. We have many divine entities, many. We count some 33 million, something like that. How did all these gods come up? So, the idea, the monotheistic idea is there's a god sitting out there and doing things to you, so they believe in dictatorship. That there is somebody who determines everything. Not so in this culture. Here, there is no idea of God, but there are many divine entities. What are these entities? Generally, if you look back, the language that was used for all the deities that you have is, you're a Devi, is a yantra, always a yantra. The word yantra literally means a machine or a device or a tool. When I refer to our own yogic temples as tools, people get offended. Sadhguru, don't say that, it means more than our life. I said, if you are offended by this, you come to the ashram. I am going to give you a plumbing job to do in the ashram without tools. You must use your nails and your teeth and do plumbing in the ashram for 3 days. After 3 days, I'll give you a chain winch or a spanner. Will you worship or no? Will you worship the tool or no after having lost all your teeth? So the power of the tool is something that we always understood. We as human beings, we are who we are on this planet only because of the tools that we have created. If we did not have any tools, a dog would dominate us, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. It's only because of the tools human beings have become who they are. So a screwdriver is a tool too, but there are subtler tools, energy tools, subjective tools, which can open up different dimensions of life. So for every dimension we create a different tool, a different possibility, because we clearly know without this tool we would never access this possibility. We bow down to it and we worship it, because without being worshipful it will not yield to you. We clearly know gods are our making. It is just that others have forgotten. So here we told you, your life is your karma. This means your life is your making. Where is the question of preordained? Such a thing never arises in this culture.
Thank you, Sadhguru.
But it's dangerous for a doctor to think it's preordained.
Today, the medical science has reached a level, Sadhguru, we really do not have to touch the patient. When I see a patient in my office, he would have undergone all kinds of tests.
Yes.
Everything is done, all the images are displayed, history is written, everything is planned. Technically, I can see the reports and tell the patient, okay, you need a bypass or you need valve replacement. But I always make it a point to take my stethoscope, put it on the chest, listen to the heart, look at the patient's eyes, put my hand around on his shoulders, touch the patient, and then explain to them what is going on and talk to the family. I personally feel that touch has the most healing power than anything else what we have invented. Do you believe in that, Swamiji?
See, what is not understood is, yes, one part of us is mechanical, but there are other dimensions. Most of the time, the mechanical part has gone wrong because we have not tended to the other dimensions. So what is lacking in their life is, their life is not touched. Not necessarily a physical touch, is just a manifestation. Essentially, their life is not touched by anything. When I say touched by anything, it need not necessarily be a relationship. You can be touched by so many things. I don't know how many of you… when was the last… how many decades ago did you watch a sunrise? Or a sunset, or a moonrise. I'm saying not touched by anything. When was it the last time you waited for a flower to bloom? No such thing. When is the last time you paid an attention to a butterfly or a leaf or a flower or another human being? You're… of course, you don't like faces, you like the Facebook. I'm saying contact with life, whether it's human, animal, plant life or just elements around you, just that. How many people even take a moment to even look at the food that they're going to consume with a little bit of involvement, or are they touched by it? No. So at last, either a doctor has to touch it or in the end the undertaker will touch you. You know, somebody will touch you, things gone bad, somebody has to touch you. So, does touch have a relevance? Tremendous relevance. Touch need not always be physical, it can be in so many different ways. If you are not touched by life, you are a dying life, you are not a living life. It may happen to you after some time, but it's happening, you're in progression. Because what you call as life, even in the physical level, it's medical knowledge for everybody now. The number of cells you have is more than the number of stars in the Milky Way, okay? Every day, over 600 million billion cells are dying and new cells are being born. That means every second, 10 million cells are dying and 10 million new cells are born in your body. If you just leave the old guys, if you just take charge of these new 10 million cells every second that's coming up in your body, if you structure them properly, create them properly, if you have some say in how they will happen, if you have some influence as to how these fresh cells are born, your heart should be fixed, your brain should be fixed, everything should be fixed. Because that is the level of opportunity you have to rejuvenate your life second to second. But because you're totally oblivious to life, when I say oblivious to life, I want you to look at this. Right now, you cannot even call yourself as a living being because most of the time, What is happening with you is just thought and emotion. Thought and emotion is just psychological drama. It has no existential relevance. Here, 1,000 people can sit here and live in 1,000 different worlds right now. That means nobody is in reality. Nobody is living, everybody is thinking about life. Psychological space, what happens, has unfortunately overtaken the existential process of life. You do not experience life, you're only thinking and reacting to situations around you. Thought and emotion is dominating everything. So right now, today morning, sun came up on time. You don't think much about that. Okay, so what? Now you need to understand, if sun does not come up tomorrow morning, within 18 hours, all life on this planet will largely cease as we know it. So I'm telling you, sun came up on time today morning. I want to hear appropriate noises. Yeah. None of the planets in this solar system collided today. In the whole universe, no accidents. In this endless cosmos, no accidents, everything going right. But you have one nasty little thought crawling in your head and it's a bad day. I'm saying you completely lost perspective with life. You lost perspective as to who you are. It's a kind of madness. So once you lose perspective as to who you are and what is your space and status in this existence, you are a sickness by nature. It's not the doctor has to diagnose you, it's already on. One day it will manifest to a point where his instruments or his touch will tell him, but it's already on. The process is on. When it goes beyond a point, he'll give you a prescription or a surgery. But the process is on, you're working hard towards it.
There are large number of Indian or Western techniques of healing which may not have scientific data, but they work. And I have a personal experience. Many years ago, my wife developed lower backache. It was intense pain, excruciating pain. As usual, I took her to a neurologist, they did MRI and everything is fine, there is no problem, but poor thing, she was
I'm
really…
glad you were not a spinal surgeon, otherwise you would have done it.
Then my brother-in-law suggested that I should take her to see a acupuncture specialist. As a doctor, it was a bit embarrassing for me to go to somebody. And he didn't have a fancy clinic. I went to his house and he talked to my wife for a few minutes and he made her sleep flat on the floor. And Sadhguru, he took, from the heel, he started pressing on her lower back for 10 minutes as I was watching. I'm not exaggerating, she never had the lower back pain ever since.
I'll show you thousands and thousands like that. Not even with any needles, simply.
I was so fascinated because he cured my wife and he did something which I couldn't do it for 32 years. She was fine. There are many ways of treating people, and as professionals, we have to respect all the ways of treating.
Definitely, I would say allopathic system is at its best when there's an emergency. When there is time, definitely other systems are way better if you ask me, in many ways. Particularly, this is something hardly known to people. In southernmost part of India, largely in Tamil Nadu, we have what is called a Siddha Vaidya. It's a most incredible medical system, so comprehensive. There are over 300,000 formulations. I don't think even modern pharmacopoeia has that. Over 300,000 formulations elaborately written down. And the fundamental difference between Ayurveda and Siddha is, Ayurveda is herb-based Siddha is elemental. The only thing is, the skill level that it demands from the doctor is a challenge in modern world. This is something that you have to live, then only it works. The person who administers it is as important as what is administered. Who administers it? You're talking about touch, so who administers it is important, not just what is administered. But the nature of modern medicine is, you write a prescription, some chemist who knows nothing about it gives it, and they take it, it's only purely chemical and it works. But when there are chronic ailments, if there is infection, killing it with whatever, chemical bombing it is the way to do it. But when you're generating an illness from within, correcting it from within is most important. If there's an emergency, you have to intervene more aggressively, that's different. But these systems have such a comprehensive knowledge about health and well-being. But the problem is, it needs a lifelong involvement and dedication to become something good with this kind of system. It is not something that you can acquire as a profession and do it. Always it was seen as a sacred duty that you can actually… See, I want everybody to think about it, and I'm sure many times you're facing this within yourself. It is not a prescription, it is not a surgery, it is not something. It's a person's life, whether he lives or dies. I mean, your existence, it's not a… it is not a case, it is not a statistic. For that person, it is the only life that he has. This needs far more deeper attention than just being handled as a profession. I think that sense of dedication and involvement, individual doctors might have grown into it, but still that's not there as a culture. That is not there. It should not be seen as a profession, that's what I'm saying. Yes, of course, monetary requirements are there, that will happen, that's a different thing. But first of all, it must be seen as a certain commitment and a certain privilege that you are able to either end or extend somebody's life is not a small privilege.
Sadhguru, many years ago, when my son was a little kid, he gave me a book written by Swami Vivekananda. He was describing how ancient gurus could communicate with each other thousands of miles away just by thought. It's essentially, it's like a modern internet, how one computer can communicate with another computer in US or Europe. Do you believe that human mind can be trained to influence another human mind or people's mind who are far away just by tuning our mind to the right frequency? Can it be trained? Can we learn that art?
It's not just about the mind. See, when we say mind, the English word mind is only general.
We appreciate your presence and active participation. Let's continue this journey together, exploring new horizons and sharing our light with the world.
Fighting turn and called the Dark Lord forth to fight with a rage that none could spurn. Under blackened skies they clash in fire, a dance of steel, a test of wills. In every blow, a hero's pyre, as blood meets stone, the earth stands still. The hammer fell from heights, a force of doom and boundless hate. But Fingolfin, swift as a striking hawk, evaded death, defied his fate. His silver mail and crystal shield, they glimmered bright against the dark, like a lone star's defiant light, a guide through shadows cold and stark. With every swing of Ringo's blade, the giant trembled, strength unmade by a king who dared to stand alone, who knew the weight of choices made. Under blackened skies, they clash in fire. A dance of steel, a test of wills. In every blow, a hero's pyre. As blood meets stone, the earth stands still. The Quran gave way to pits of grief. Beneath Morgoth's iron tread, yet still the elven king arose. Though wounds ran black, his courage bled. With one last cry, he swung his blade and healed the Dark Lord's wicked heel. The